Welcome to the On Deck podcast presented by LineStar. I'm Shannon Sommerville. It is Tuesday, April 26th. We'll be joined by Tyler Wiemann in just a bit to go over some of your daily fantasy baseball projections for today. We do want to take a look at some weather conditions today that could have an impact if you're playing daily fantasy or placing some bets. The first place we want to take a look at is some favorable conditions at PNC Park. 11-mile-an-hour winds out to left, but still a bit chilly there. Similar conditions at the Great American Ballpark. 12-mile-an-hour winds to left center. Some trouble spots of weather in the mid-Atlantic region today, so it could play a factor as the Phillies host the Rockies. 48% chance of rain there, but it is expected to be just a light rain, so they could play. Keep an eye on it. Nationals Park, similar conditions there. Chance of rain is 58%, but it should clear up later in the night. And the highest chance of rain on the slate is in the Bronx, 68% chance there. So keep an eye on those three games before you place any bets in them or have any daily fantasy players. Just make sure you check before you lock. To the south side, where you should take note of some 12-mile-an-hour winds to center. Still pretty chilly there, though. Cubs at Braves, 69 degrees and a 12-mile-an-hour wind to center could make for some very favorable hitters conditions. And A's at Giants, we've got some strong, gusty 12 to 15-mile-an-hour winds out to center. So love that for some hitters there. So that's your weather report. Few games to keep an eye on, especially in that mid-Atlantic area. So definitely double check on things before you submit your lineup or your prop bet. And as always, we bring in Tyler Wiemann to go over some of our daily fantasy baseball projections. I do say we did quite well yesterday. I sounded very British right there. I don't know where I was going with that, but
absolutely crushed it.
We did crush it.
Yep, you hit both your home run call and your prop bet.
Home run call, the prop bet, and then everything that we said yesterday, it almost came to fruition.
Bueller was amazing.
Was
complete
awesome,
game.
Stellar, and that's exactly what we said yesterday. If you're watching the show, we said it could be a great game for him to find his confidence again, find that fastball. Sure enough, he did.
Yep,
I'm
it
sure
happened.
You're so happy to see that as a Padres fan, seeing those Dodgers.
It's so hard playing DFS and rooting for the Dodgers, but sometimes I just have to do it.
Sometimes you just got to cut the emotion out of the equation.
Yep.
And just win some money.
About making some money.
All right, let's take a look at winning some money with some high-owned pitchers for today. We'll take a look at the top-owned pitcher, and this is going to be a trend all season long. Carlos Rodon at the top of the list here. He is about 40% owned on DraftKings and FanDuel, going up against the A's today. He's only given up 2 earned runs in 3 starts last time out through 5 shutout innings against the Mets, 8 strikeouts, and today facing a team with the 4th lowest batting average and 4th highest strikeout rate. So I'm thinking good things for Rodon today.
Yeah, he's in a great spot. He's been averaging over 10 strikeouts a game, over 30 DraftKings points per game. He's been absolutely great. And like you said, today he has a good matchup. Oakland has an implied total of 2.6. And they have a combined K rate of 31%. It's pretty clear that, he's just the best pitcher on the slate.
Sure. So he's going to be expensive, though.
He is expensive, and he's high owned.
Is it worth, we'll go through some of the other pitchers, but, is there, knowing that he has this matchup against the A's that's so conducive to strikeouts, is it worth the price? I
will not be shying away from him. I will be playing him without a doubt.
Okay. Let's take a look at Blue Jays righty Kevin Gausman versus the Red Sox. He's about 30% owned on DraftKings, 6% on FanDuel. Now, last time out, gave up just 1 earned run in 8 innings, 8 strikeouts. That was actually against the Red Sox. Was incredibly efficient. He's been really good. Solid pitcher. The Red Sox, 19th in the league in batting average, which I was a little surprised to see, considering middle of the pack, I was kind of guessing, but they're starting to get towards the bottom, which I was a little bit surprised about. One of the things you mentioned yesterday on the show was when a team sees a pitcher, with so little time between starts. So, like in this case, could that be to the advantage of the Red Sox?
Yes, it always gives me some hesitation when guys see the pitcher, so soon. Twice in 2 weeks or in a week really is a lot. He did do really well, though. He had 32
Right.
DraftKings points against them last week. He has a 3.07 FIP over the last 25% combined K rate. And Boston is bottom 6 in WRC plus versus lefties.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in a good spot. He can absolutely do that again. Price is cheap for him, at least.
Right. So he's in a good spot.
Yeah, he's in a fine spot.
All right, you know who else is in a fine spot? Well, maybe we'll ask Tyler. Erod. Eduardo Rodriguez, the lefty for the Tigers, going up against the Twins. He's 30% owned on DraftKings, 9% on FanDuel. Now, he has yet to record a win for the season for the Tigers. Last outing gave up 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and 6 innings pitched. That was against the Yankees. Now, the Twins are 22nd in batting average, 20th versus lefties. So this looks like it could be a good matchup for Erod.
And Erod's gotten off to a bit of a slow start, but he has faced, like you said, the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Red Sox. So it's not like he's faced bad teams.
Good point.
He is also super cheap for having a 23% combined K rate on this slate. Like you said, Minnesota hasn't been good, and they're kind of middle of the road versus lefties. And then one thing to note that I did see is that Erod's line for strikeouts is 6.5, which is pretty high.
Yeah, that is.
So obviously, sports books are kind of liking his strikeout numbers today.
All right. Well, that's a good sign always when you look at those. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's always a great thing to look at if you're looking to see what the trends could be.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
That's a good point. Let's take a look at some lower-owned pitchers. And the first guy we're going to look at is Luis Severino going up against the Orioles today. There is some weather to be aware of in this game. The last outing gave up 1 earned run and 5 innings pitched against the Tigers, just 3 strikeouts. But he's starting to look like the old Sevy of 2018 before Tommy John's. We're seeing glimpses of that. So what do you see for him today?
Severino absolutely looks back. He's been great. He's striking over 1 batter per inning. So far this year, he has a 2.08 ERA and a low 3 FIP. So he's been absolutely great. Yeah. We do have to go back to that weather issue.
Yes.
It is a concern for sure, especially when you're taking a pitcher, because if there is a delay, it means his day might be a little shorter. So there's absolutely some risk. But he's also facing Baltimore, who is bottom 5 versus righties. They strike out 25% of the time. They have a super low 0.08 ISO. Severino also went 88 pitches last start.
Okay.
So he's getting close to being fully stretched out.
I love to see it as a Yankees fan.
Yep.
Let's talk about Sandy Alcantara, the Marlins righty versus the Nationals, coming off a stellar outing where he tossed 8 shutout innings against the Cardinals. And the Cards are just slightly better than the Nationals this season in terms of hitting. So another great matchup for him today.
Yeah, and actually his last time against Washington was, again, an 8-inning outing where he did really good. But yes, Sandy's...
So he's low-owned.
He's low-owned.
Price right?
He's kind of high-priced. He doesn't have the highest strikeout rate, which is really where you get the upside.
Sure. But
Washington is bottom 10 versus righties. His combined strikeout, which we did mention, is kind of low, 21%. Also, his line on the sports books looks about 4.5 Ks, which I think is pretty low for him. He has hit that in 2 of 3. But thing to note, again, the sports books aren't liking his K numbers really well. One other thing to note about him is his StatCast numbers are absolutely terrific. Lots of weak contact, lots of ground balls. So I don't really see him getting blown up. He's kind of a safer option at the higher price points.
Nice. Well, let's take a look at some of the ways you can stack against some of the pitchers you'll be seeing today. And our highest owned stack, once again for the second day in a row, is the Dodgers going up against D-backs righty Zach Davies. And Davies hasn't lasted past 5 innings pitched this season. He's got an ERA over 5. And when you're looking at the Dodgers, this offense really clicking, 4th best average versus righties. So is this worth the money that you're probably going to have to spend?
Dodgers are absolutely scary. The one thing, though, that I would like to note is that Davies hasn't been giving up a lot of hard contact or home runs.
Right.
So
that was one of the things I note when I was trying to find my home run pick.
Yeah.
And looking at different things, I did notice that.
It looks like pretty much every Dodgers bat that's in the lineup is probably going to be higher than 15% owned. Mm-hmm. So, like, as a stack, they're going to be very high owned. With the lack of home runs, it does give me a little hesitation to kind of follow that. But there are some things with Davies. Super high walk rate, 4.6 per 9. Like I said, he limits hard contact, but he has a 6.57 ERA over the last 20 starts. So there might not be a lot of home runs, but there's going to be a lot of people on base and a lot of chances to score.
We're not fading him quite yet.
We're not fading him, but those home runs may not be there.
Good point. How about for the Astros against Rangers lefty Taylor Hearn, who hasn't gone past 3 innings in his last 2 outings? He's struggled a bit. Last time out, gave up 5 earned runs, including 2 home runs in 3 versus the Mariners. So what do you see that you like from this matchup?
One,
besides what I just
yeah, like we have said in the last couple shows, is Texas bullpen's terrible.
Correct.
Hearn hasn't been great. He has a 4.47 FIP, over almost a 7-point ERA over the last 20 starts, and he's also been walking a lot of batters, almost 5 per 9 innings, and he's giving up a lot of hard contact. So there's a lot of things to like Houston here.
Sure.
The other thing to note is, like, Houston probably is the second highest owned stack, but they're going to be so much less owned than the Dodgers.
That's true.
So, like, just because I'm saying they're the second highest owned stack, I would not be fading them because I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the ownership of Dodgers.
And the Astros still kind of at the bottom of the league in terms of batting average.
They are.
But this is such a great matchup for them. And who knows, it could be a game that helps them get the offense clicking.
Absolutely.
And then we start to see that owned stack be number 1 over the Dodgers. Maybe. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yep.
Let's take a look at some of our lower owned stacks, see where we can maybe get some value. Now, the White Sox going up against Royals lefty Daniel Lynch, who hasn't shown a whole lot of consistency, but Mike Matheny says he keeps getting better. So I don't really know what to expect from this matchup here. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so the White Sox, it's really more Daniel Lynch than the actual White Sox. The White Sox haven't been great, but Lynch has a 36% hard contact rate to go along with 51% fly balls, which is giving up 2.7 home runs per 9. He has over a 5 FIP, 5.62 ERA over the last 20, and the White Sox are actually second in the league against lefties with a 152 WRC plus. And then versus Lynch, they have like a 290 average, and I think it was a 505 slugging. So really, they've just hit him
just like
really hard.
Basically own Daniel Lynch.
Exactly. So it's just Lynch against a team that should break out soon.
Man, I wish I had known that before I picked my home run call. The White Sox. Those are some good numbers right there. Let's take a look at Toronto versus Boston righty Nick Pivetta. Not Nick Poverty, like autocorrect likes to adjust in your cell phone. You texted me last week about Pivetta. I was like, Nick Poverty, who is that?
Guess it works, Pivetta, though. He was been that bad.
Well, speaking of which, he has allowed at least 4 runs in each of his outings this year, and at least a home run in each as well. So when you look at the Blue Jays bats against Nick Pivetta, I mean, oh man.
Hey, it's Nick Poverty. He's allowed 4 or more runs in the last 6 of 8 starts against Toronto. Toronto's hitting 320 against him with 4 home runs and 86.
320.
Yeah, in 86 plate attempts.
Runs.
Yes. Pivetta has a 6.2 FIP. He's allowing a ton of hard contact, 46% hard contact, 95-mile-an-hour exit velocity.
Why are we even talking about the Dodgers and Astros when we have this type of matchup right here?
And that's exactly the thing. Both the White Sox and Toronto, they're expensive also, but I see them as like multiple home runs, where
Yeah.
Dodgers maybe one,
Sure.
if you're lucky, two, but Dodgers are just going to get on base more. So bottom line is Toronto hits the ball hard.
Yeah.
Poverty has allowed a lot of hard hits.
Well, let's turn our attention now to the Rangers. We're going to take a look at the other side of that Astros matchup, and we're going to talk about righty Jake Odorizzi, who the Rangers will be facing. Has an ERA of 9 this year. Last time out was just not. He just has not been good.
He's been bad.
I don't know what's going on or
Yeah.
what the Astros are going to do moving forward. But just looking at today, Rangers bats looking pretty enticing for a daily fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, Odorizzi has been terrible. He's walking almost 7 batters for 9 innings, and he's given up 9 runs per 9 innings pitched this year. So he's giving up a lot of fly balls too. The one thing is he's another pitcher that's not giving up many home runs. He has yet to give up one this year. 9 runs he's given up anyways.
Right.
So people are just hitting him really easily. And Texas is hitting .316 off him in his career too, with 3 home runs and 41 plate attempts.
Yeah, those are good numbers.
Texas also has a 4.8 run implied total, which is the second highest, tied for the second highest on the slate with Houston. Obviously, the Dodgers are at 5.5, which is way higher than everybody else. But
so looking good there.
Yep.
I'm liking our lower owned stacks here today.
Yeah,
I think we got some good ones.
I do too. Anytime, especially like with baseball, because there's so much variance, and when you have a stack that is so high owned as the Dodgers, it's pretty easy to get different. Just because so much of the ownership is going to that one team.
Right.
So and there's 11
and
games.
there's so many.
Yeah.
You were reading off these stats, and I was like, I want this guy. I want this guy on my
Yeah.
team. It's almost like it's great when you look at some of the lower owned stacks and the value you can get there.
Totally. The one thing though is it might be hard to get Toronto and
That's
the White
true.
Sox and Dodgers into your lineups, because the pitchers, you're probably gonna have to pay up a little bit for pitching today.
Well, now it is time for our home run calls. Yesterday, Jock Peterson delivered.
Yeah.
Hit a bomb. So we were correct on that. And today we're going to try to continue this streak. And in our projections for today, we just went over the favorable matchup that the Blue Jays have against Nick Pivetta today. So where are you going with your home run call? Try to set you up for that one a little bit.
Picking on Pivetta, going with Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero. Pavetta's given up 3.1 home runs per 9, and Vlad has a 4.414 WOBA and .267 ISO versus him in 19 plate attempts. So,
man,
I want him to go yard.
That might even be a great prop bet as well. I don't know what the value is on that. For any
It was
Guerrero.
plus 350.
Oh, you got off the top. Okay.
I may have already put one in for Vladimir Guerrero
All right.
and Yasmani Grandal.
Nice.
2 home run.
We love to see it. And where I'm going Kyle Schwarber. I'm going for a Schwarbomb, as you like to say.
I do. I love
So not only did he get so fired up and ejected from a game the other day, and I love to see that fire for somebody. We like to see a little passion at the dish, if you will. And so I think he's going to take Herman Marquez yard. Now, his career numbers against him are awesome. 462 average versus him with 2 home runs, 1,000 slugging percentage against him. So I think that in combination of how fired up he is lately, I see that one going well. Although I do need to make a note, this is a weather game to keep an eye on. So I am keeping an eye on that. And if you want to keep up with our picks for our home run calls, be sure to follow us on Twitter at LineStar app and retweet our home run picks for a chance to win some cool merchandise or maybe even some LineStar projections that you could all of the stuff basically that we pick for our prop bets and everything that we use is right in the LineStar app. It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Well,
like
a
you
secret
tweeted out
weapon.
yesterday.
It really is my secret weapon. I'm not joking about
It
that.
is. The daily matchup tool is great.
It's awesome. You can see how a pitcher has done against every single hitter, but it's all in one. What I like about it is it's going on a little bit of a tangent here. But what I like about the LineStar app specifically is just the way it's organized, and you don't have to go in a bunch of different tabs. Everything's just right there. It's awesome. That will lead us to our prop bets of the day. And we've been crushing the prop bets, crushing the home run calls. So we've got to continue our little streak here. Where are you going with your prop bet today, Tyler?
Well, we got to follow up yesterday's performance. Both of us hit it.
Yeah.
So I am going to go back to pitching.
Back to pitching?
And I'm going Carlos Rodon over 8.5 strikeouts. Oakland has K'd 27.5% of the time versus lefties, while Rodon has an incredible 34% K rate. He is also averaging over 10 Ks per game so far. So 8.5.
I saw that you had that on there, and I was like, oh, I wanted that.
Got to get to it quick. It was a good one.
It's such a great matchup, and I'm starting to get more in the pitchers props now that we're starting to see them at full strength.
Yep.
And we aren't worried about pitch counts or anything. So I love that for Rodon over 8.5 strikeouts. Where I'm going for my prop, I thought about today is a national holiday. Did you know this?
Oh gosh.
It is Aaron Judge's birthday. All rise, everybody. But you're not picking Judge. I was tempted to pick Aaron Judge. However, I did see they had an off day yesterday. They were out and about, cavorting around as people do for their birthdays.
Just partying?
So I'm going to stay away from them for today. Let him enjoy his birthday, you know?
Yeah.
Don't put the pressure of a prop bet on him like that on his birthday.
I'm sure he sweats your prop bets too.
All right, well, so I'm going Daniel Vogelback, the lefty bat going up against Brandon Woodruff today. He's got a 6.11 slugging versus righties. Brandon Woodruff hasn't been stellar, and so I'm going over a half a base at -135. I just love Daniel Vogelback also because he's delivered for me a couple times in the past in props, and I think he's actually one of the more underrated hitters in the league right now. So I am going with Vogelback. Give me some bogey.
Versus righty, he absolutely is.
He just crushes it.
I do have to say that I like that you're not scared to go against a good pitcher.
I
did it yesterday, and you're doing it again today.
Give me the Cy Young winner. We'll go up against him. We're not scared of that. All right. That's it for us today. You can follow us on Twitter, or if you're watching us on YouTube right now, be sure to like and subscribe. And, yeah, just follow us all day. Download the LineStar app. I think that's all the promotion that I've got going on. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one. Bye.